Alright, hello and welcome back. We are on to stage 2. I am so excited after some of the settings and the build up and all that kind of stuff. So I think this is when we really get into it after getting to know the characters. Now stuff starts happening. So let's get into it. So excited. August ended, September began, and it was time to go back to school. Lizzie groaned and complained the entire first week. She hated going to classes. Still, there was interesting things to do that couldn't be done anywhere else. You weren't sure how Cove felt about it. He was enrolled that year. That was like a sign Cove would be staying in Sunset Bird for a while. At school he was alright, but kept his distance from the other kids, from what you saw anyway. Originally, he treated you like everyone else, passing by as if you didn't know each other. But as the years went on, the two of you acknowledged each other more and more. Something had started to grow between you. That year, the divorce of Cove's parents was finalized. You overheard your parents talking about it, saying Cove's dad got full custody. I wonder what happened with his parents and why the mom has no custody. At first, you worried that meant bad news. It had made Mr. Holden cry, apparently. Then you found out it meant Cove would keep living with his dad. He would only stay with his mom a few weeks of the year. Cove cried too, for different reasons, he thought. Seemed like Cove and his dad might move again. But Mr. Holden decided to stay after all. Mom asked him about it once. He said he didn't want to uproot Cove's life a second time. Mr. Holden tried to get Cove to like Sunset Bird more. He kept encouraging his son to go out and see the place. Sometimes Mr. Holden volunteered you to spend time with Cove. You weren't sure how well it worked in changing Cove's thoughts on the town, yet it might have been part of the reason you and Cove ended up growing closer. Okay, good. Cove never talked to anyone about what happened with his parents and withdrew whenever it was brought up. It was hard for him, yet nobody knew how to help. Eventually, Cove stopped crying on his own. He couldn't understand what had changed. Whoops. But you hoped that you could help him feel better still, since even without the tears, he looked sad. Maybe one day he could say out loud what he felt inside, so I guess it skips a little bit. After that, it felt like things had gone back to normal, except what was normal didn't stay the same. Years passed and suddenly you were in middle school. You weren't a kid anymore. You were 13 years old. That officially made you a teen, even if your sister didn't agree. The toys and crayons that used to litter every free space of your room had been packed up away somewhere, replaced with new hobbies. Why can't I talk all of a sudden? There were other changes too. Cove's cast got taken off. It was weird to see him without it initially. Underneath the pink plaster ended up being a long thin scar that snaked across his forearm. Cove's chest puffed out in pride when someone drew attention to it. He also went through a major growth spurt. He was the tallest student in his class, and for 2 years in a row. Cove will probably hold that spot again next time. In class, people knew him for more than just being tall. He also stood out because of how well he did with school stuff overall. Over the years, he began opening up more too. We saw him talking amicably with other kids or neighbors from time to time. And the only kid that came to visit the neighborhood when you were little, Shiloh, well, he was gone. He and his mom moved back south because of her work, but just 1 year after Cove came to Sunset. It had been really upsetting when he left. Lizzie was inconsolable for weeks, but nobody talked about Shiloh anymore. It was a long time ago. You learned some heartbreaking things became less sad the further away they were, even if they had never gotten any better. That was sad in its own way. Things at home were different too. You still lived in the same house and all that, but wasn't how it was before. Ma dyed her hair purple, wanting something new, and liked it so much she kept dyeing it. You never calling her mummy as a kid, but something like that seemed awkward nowadays. You were much too old for the word. Lizzie felt too mature for her nickname too. She insisted on everyone calling her Elizabeth, so you did. Oh, it's so weird. It's like you got attached to these characters in the way they were when you were a little kid, and now you're seeing how life changed over the years, and it's almost sad in a way. Your mom soon gave her permission to go places other than the playground and shopping street, which she took advantage of. You rarely saw her around the old neighborhood. In fact, she had hardly spent time with you the way she did before. Elizabeth instead associated more and more with the girls from school who were her own age. Maybe the difference between 13 and 15 was greater than the difference between 8 and 10. You started befriending new people yourself, like Derek Soares. You didn't live in the neighborhood or go to the same school. What happened was his and Cove's dad struck up a business partnership a few months ago. Since then, Derek would pop up in the area now and then. Seeing Mrs. Soares was happy to let Derek tag along to his work, if Derek had the time for it. Without a doubt, everyone and everything around you had changed in small and big ways. You had too. As time went by, though, it was easy to settle into this new normal. Then, before you knew it, school was over, and summer vacation had come again. It was the first day of summer vacation. The sun was as hot as ever, but you were inside and away from its harsh rays. Oh wow, look, you can see how the room changed. To be more specific, you were snuggled up in bed celebrating your time off by sleeping in, wide awake, about to head out to enjoy your time off. Well, we should, I guess get up and actually do something today. You made sure to slather on a generous amount of sunscreen so you didn't get burnt. You were looking in the mirror, studying the clothes you'd thrown on when your bedroom door opened without warning. In the reflection, you saw Elizabeth raise an eyebrow. Oh, so cool. She's so adorable. We get to see her when grown up now. I'm so excited. Have you been staring at yourself this whole morning? Could you knock next time? Go away. Good morning, Elizabeth. Could you knock next time? She ignored that, crossing her arms over her chest with a disgruntled expression. Clearly she hadn't come in just to see you. Your special boy is at the door, like he always is now. He brought some happy summer gift from Mr. Holden. Mom wants you to take it from him, say thanks or whatever. You did not like the way she called him your special boy, but you knew by now that saying so wouldn't stop her. So come down already. Be right there. Okay, fine. Really? That's great. I'm coming. I'll be there when I'm there. Be right there. Elizabeth said nothing else without having done what was instructed of her. Now alone, you focus on the mirror once again. Your reflection hardly even fit in the frame. You're very tall. Your reflection went over the whole length of the mirror. You're pretty tall. Your reflection fit comfortably in the frame. Your average height. There was a lot of open real estate for your frame. You're pretty short. You had trouble getting your reflection to appear on the mountain mirror. You're very short. I'm like, I'm a little bit shorter than average, so we'll go with that. You could relate to Derek and how it felt to be smaller than people that you ought to be. Your shortness seemed even more drastic when compared to Cove, who was unusually tall. You liked your height, you weren't sure how to feel about it, you were kind of self-conscious. I like my height just fine. Suited you well in your mind. Then you put the finishing touches on your outfit while ruminating on the situation. Careless as they had been, Elizabeth's words piqued your curiosity. You planned on going over to see what Cove was up to today, so this worked in your favor. It was when you spotted your reflection that you realized you were smiling wide. You were looking forward to seeing him. You left the room, taking an easy time down the stairs. Step 2, second chance. Ah, very cool. You spotted Mom first, reclined on the couch. She had a magazine in her hands, which she was perusing through. Morning, Mom. She looked up at your greeting, a smile instantly appearing on her face. Good morning, Jamie. Thank you for coming down. Mom's at the door with Cove. He can't stay over today, unfortunately. Why didn't you go and thank him before he leaves? You nodded and made your way to the front of the house, just as she said. Mom was there making conversation. She must have heard you because she looked over her shoulder. Look, we finally made it. Morning, sleepyhead. Oh yeah, so I guess she's the one who dyed her hair purple. Ma reached forward and you knew she was about to pat you on the head. She was taller than average for an adult woman, so at your height you were absolutely teeny in her eyes. You let her do it, you happily let her do it. You tilted your body along the diaphragm, you pushed your hand back and laughed, pushed your hand back and groaned. Let her do it. You stood by patiently indulging your Ma's wishes. She gave you 2 small taps on the ground on the head. You're the last one down today, you know that? Life isn't a race. Morning. I was going to stay in longer, so you're welcome. Sorry about the wait. What did you get? Oh, sorry about the wait. Whoops. Oh, there's no need for that. What matters is that you're here now. With a small laugh, Mom stepped aside. Oh, here we go. We're meeting him and growing up. Cove was just as you remembered, exactly how you came to know him to be. He leaned uncomfortably to the side of your doorway as the longer strands of his hair drifted idly with the breeze. His features had pinched in embarrassment and he shifted from foot to another. He was holding what seemed to be the much-talked-about gift. At first glance, you figured it was a bouquet of flowers. Then you gave it a real look. No, instead it was carefully cut fruit. It made a lot of sense that it was actually from Cove's dad. You had to suppress a laugh at this showing. You couldn't imagine many folks buying that sort of thing for their own personal enjoyment. The kind of arrangement was built for the presentation, likely to impress whoever was inevitably going to receive it. It seemed no matter how long he lived here, Mr. Holden would keep going out of his way to be neighborly, and Cove would always be roped into participating. Cove continued looking at the ground and smiled slightly. Hey, Jamie. His grip on the base of the gift tightened and your heartbeat sped up. It was weird how things had changed so much in the past few years. When you first met Cove, you weren't all that interested in him. You could tell the feeling was mutual. Now, though, you couldn't seem to stop thinking about him. You hadn't yet adjusted to these new emotions. Hi, it's nice to see you. Yeah, I mean, it's nice seeing you too. Not that it's nice for you to see me. His gaze still didn't meet yours, so he chuckled just a bit. It was already shaping up to be another long summer. The best part was that the two of you had plenty of time to spend together and explore what was developing. His awkwardness over the task started to creep back in so Cove nudged the gift closer to you. He was ready to be relieved of it. Your hands brushed over his just slightly when you took hold of the base. He flinched enough for you to know with certainty that he'd noticed it happen. Wonder why Mr. Holden is then apparently giving gifts to just Jamie and no one else. I guess because she keeps hanging out with Cove. You couldn't help but smile to yourself, and with that, the gift was accepted. I hope you and your family like this. It was a pretty good gift. I think so anyway. Oh, okay, it's supposed to be like a big thing for everyone. Dad spent a lot of time picking out the best size and design. There are so many options to choose from. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. You are too cute. Thank you. Could you tell your dad we love the gift? Yeah. Mr. Holden's behavior really was different from any neighbor you'd ever had. Though after 5 years you were used to his antics and you'd since made up your mind on what your opinion was. He was nice, he was sort of funny, he was pretty weird, you didn't like him, he was great. He was great and kind of handsome to boot. I'd say, he was nice. You knew he wasn't completely perfect, but he always seemed to try so hard for the sake of others. His thoughts were quickly interrupted by a shout. There you are! You shared a confused look with Cove as both of you stopped. I cannot speak. Both of you stepped through the open door into the neighborhood street. Oh my god. It didn't take long to locate the source of noise. You spotted Derek just a few yards down the road. He ran up to you. You were happy at the sight of him. You're confused at the sight of him. You were displeased. I guess happy. We don't know him yet. Derek was certainly a welcome guest in your neighborhood. It was a pleasant surprise whenever he shut up. After stopping a couple steps away, Derek hunched over to catch his breath. Then he looked up with a wide grin. Hey, guy and girl. I was just at your house, Cove, but no one was there. Should have figured you'd be at Jamie's place. Do you ever spend time in your own home, or are you always just there? Derek laughed. Oh no, I missed it. I wish you could go back. Derek turned to you. He was going to say more when his eyes widened in a gasp. What's that? You followed my gaze unsure, then you realized what he meant. You were still holding Mr. Holden's gift. This is kind of like a bouquet of flowers, but made of fruit. Nice, can I have some? Sure, we can share. I haven't even tried any yet. It's a gift for my family. I can give you any, maybe. There, yeah. Derek grew even more excited by words, bouncing the ball with his feet. Awesome! Then he nodded his head as if to clear it. Anyway, that's right. I came here because I needed to say something big. He paused, possibly for effect. There's some other kid here in Sunset Bird. Cove was as surprised as you were by the news. Such a reaction made sense. No one around your age had moved here since Cove did 5 years ago. So it's been 5 years. Were they with their family? Maybe they were cutting through? No, the new kid was all by himself, just walking. Did you talk to him? Nope, I came to report the sighting right away. The kid had green hair, glasses, was pretty small, and seemed really upset about something. I hope he didn't leave. You blinked slowly. You looked over at your longtime neighbor. That sounds exactly like you. Yeah, that sounds a lot like you, Cove, when you first got here anyway. Kinda does, doesn't it? That's weird. He sounded almost fond, a small smile playing on his lips. Derek snickered good-naturedly. I can see that really well, now that you say so. But what do you say? Let's go find Cove's look-alike. We should all meet him. I'll do it. Sure, I want to see who this person is. Derek grinned, then he pointed on the street the way he came. Last I saw him, the mystery visitor was going this direction. Nothing else needed to be said. The three of you were off, with Derek leading the way. Derek brought you to the beach, and as a trio, you made your way down the shore to the old playground. You walked to the familiar path in a comfortable silence. When you were almost there, you spotted the kid in question. His bright colors almost shone like a beacon beneath the rays of the sun. He scuffled around, kicking up sand as he paced. It was true, he certainly seemed upset, but you didn't think he was sad, like you had originally pictured. No, his erratic movements and scrunched up expression, he came off angry. Started to have doubts about this expedition. Maybe it would be better if you left him alone and let him sort himself out. Derek didn't feel the same. He didn't feel the same. He waved wildly, calling out to the boy. I don't know why it is. Something about reading makes me want to yawn. Not that I don't like reading. I love reading, but it makes me yawn. Hey guys, over here. Oh boy. The kid whipped around, an impressive scowl carving deep onto his face. His eyes were tired, but a strong hostile energy still radiated from him. What is it? What do you want? Shocked tone made Derek flinch. He shifted on his feet. What's your name? Jeremy. Was that it? I'm Derek. That's Jamie and Cove. We were just walking around and saw you. We wanted to say hi. There aren't a lot of kids our age in the neighborhood. Yes, you know. It's cool to see someone else here. Strangely, Jeremy grew furious about your response. If steam could erupt from a person's ears, it would have happened then. They did bring me somewhere stupid. Of course, I knew it. What? They're the ones who brought me. I didn't walk to this town. Can you not figure that out on your own? My dad brings me to Sunset Bird too, when he has to come for work and all that stuff. It's not bad. That earned him a glare from Jeremy. Derek winced beneath it, glancing away. It was a struggle to remain friendly with this Jeremy guy. Gosh, long day is hitting me. I mean, I wouldn't want to come here for a real vacation probably either. That's an understatement. That doesn't count as a vacation. It's a waste of time. A chore. You know, so much from what I've heard about Sunset Bird, it sounds beautiful with tons of beaches and hills and things. Don't understand why everyone seems to hate it. My parents' family is nearby, and we just had to come and see them. Ugh. If they're your parents' family, doesn't that make them your family too? That's a pretty good reason to come by. Did you want to go somewhere else? No. Jeremy crossed his arms with a huff. He turned away. They should have gone by themselves since they cared so much and left me home, but I'm not allowed to be by myself. Puffed. Makes no sense. They're the ones who don't know how to do anything, and I'm the kid. Kept quiet. You shouldn't talk about your parents like that. Sorry, it must suck to be forced to do something you don't want to. We just said hello. You don't need to keep complaining at us. Calm down. Don't have to yell as much. Keep eating your cereal this morning. I guess we'll just keep quiet. We don't want to throw fire into or fuel into the fire. You know, I have no idea what to say to this, so you stayed silent. Jeremy didn't even notice, too focused on ranting. How do they always... God, this is really annoying. How do they always make summer vacation worse every year? You turned to Cove, lowering your voice. The two of you aren't that similar after all. Jeremy must have had good hearing, though, because he caught the private exchange and scoffed. Of course we're not similar. My eyebrows aren't stupid. Cove's cheeks flushed crimson at the insult. You couldn't be sure if it was out of embarrassment or anger, maybe both. Come on. What? No? Cove's eyebrows are wavy. Cove's wavy eyebrows are so cool. How can you say that when you have a bowl cut? To listen to them. They're really unique and special. Well, they are kind of silly. Apologize to Cove right now. You can't treat other people like that. We'll go with the direct, because that seemed to work for us last time. Cove smiled weakly. Especially because of how ridiculous I look, maybe. Just rolled your eyes, crossed your arms over Tess, shook your head, you patted Cove on the shoulder, you lunged towards Jeremy. Grin at all this. You just rolled your eyes. His favor is unbelievably childish. You bet this is what Elizabeth imagines she's dealing with whenever you do anything. But with Jeremy, he really is like a kid. Wow, what is wrong with you? Instead of taking offense, Jeremy only parroted Derek's words in a nasty voice. Ooh. Wow. This is dumb. Jeremy stuck out his tongue and skulked away, throwing more sand everywhere as he went. You watched him go, hunched over until it became a speck in your vision. Silence reigned in his wake. The three of you tried to process what just happened. I can't believe it. What a mean kid. Derek wasn't kidding, and by the sound of those earlier complaints, the new boy Jeremy was going to be in the area for at least a while this summer. Derek sighed in dismay, plopping onto the ground. You followed, and Cove did too shortly after. There wasn't much else to do. I was hoping we could meet someone fun, hang out maybe. He shook his head. After a moment, he slowly turned to you with a hopeful expression. But, you know what would really improve the day? What? He didn't respond. Instead, he used a hand to point, right at the fruit arrangement that you're still holding. You completely forgot about it during the minute drama that unfolded, and you had gotten used to the wait. Glancing over to Cove, you noticed that he was eyeing the fruit. He must want some too. Need to save it. Why not? Let's eat. Derek perked up immediately at your words. He reached out for a skewer, hesitantly, slightly once he was inches away. You nodded with an eager grin. He plucked out a prime row of fruits. Cove grabbed one for himself after him, only you were without a skewer of your own. Took a pineapple skewer, took a grape skewer, took a strawberry skewer, took a melon skewer. Oh, melon. The melon was cut to look like star. It was the obvious first choice. Derek ate a pineapple skewer enthusiastically, finishing it with moments. This is amazing. Tastes pretty nice, and this fruit kebab thing is fun. Hey, you two remember the Land Before Time? That fruit thing makes me think of it. The dinosaurs all like the leaves that were shaped like stars. Tree stars. Yeah. Chopping leaves looked so delicious when they did it. And there was that scene with the pretty trees and all the dinosaurs came in and picked everything off of them until there was nothing. That's us right now. Awesome. I love that movie. I've never seen it. Don't like the one. That movie's for kids. Eating leaves looks good. Should I worry about you? Do you think things taste better when they're shaped like stars? Well, I don't remember really seeing the movie, but they seem to be enjoying it, so why not? The three of you continued like this for the next few minutes. Eventually, the display was barren. It looked weird when devoid of fruit. Hey, you weren't supposed to eat all of it. Really? Could have stopped yourself from sighing at the boys. You just wanted to eat some and have a nice time. Now you're probably going to get in trouble. You could only accept it, though. Hey, Jamie. Yeah? Two of you met eyes casually. Thanks for what you said back then. It's nice not everybody thinks like that guy. Oh, it's okay. He was just being a jerk. Derek chimed in strongly. Don't listen to it, Cove. He's the problem. People shouldn't say those kinds of things. Yeah. Derek then leaned back on his arms. He contemplated the sky with a content sigh. So, are you both ready for summer break? Yeah, no, not sure. Are you? How's supposed to be ready for the break? So you say yeah. Cool on you. Wish I could say the same. It feels like there's a lot planned for. What about you, Cove? Are you ready? I think that depends. Before you could say anything else, the light atmosphere was shattered. Jamie! You glanced over your shoulder to see your sister. She showed closer and closer, appearing none too pleased. I've been looking all over you. Mom said you and Cove ran off with the thing Mr. Holden bought for us. She leered over you with her arms folded. So, where is it? Well, it's gone. What do you mean, gone? Moved over to the side to face her completely. She zeroed in on the bouquet in your hands, which was now populated exclusively with skewers, dripping in juice and teeny flecks of leftover fruit pieces. Mouth dropped open and the tone of her voice rose. Seriously, Jamie? What were you thinking? It was supposed to be for all of us at home. She glanced at Cove, who sat beside you, and continued mockingly. Even if you're the most important person in the household to the delivery boy, this was up to his dad. It seemed everybody was in the mood to tease you and Cove today. Sorry, Elizabeth. Get over it. Well, the morning's been kind of a disaster. We were hungry? It wasn't us. We were hungry? Elizabeth nailed her eyes, not at all okay with the kind of response. Oh, no. I think I hear the mean kid coming back. We better get out of here. Elizabeth went confused and looked around. What kid? I don't see anyone. Derek didn't bother explaining. He just launched to his feet and ran off. Cove hopped up too, gladly taking the opportunity to exit the situation. He followed after Derek, but he sent a look to you from over his shoulder. He turned and watched Elizabeth. She stared back, brows raised. You ran. Without a word, you two got to your feet and bolted down the beach. Unimpressed, Elizabeth rolled her eyes. So she shook her head as she walked towards the house, not bothering whatsoever to follow. Meanwhile, the three of you made it back to the shoreline. Derek pumped his fist, grinning in triumph. We escaped and shall live to see another day. Exactly, but we should keep moving. Yeah, for now at least. Victory! My moms are going to be so mad when Liz tells a story. Exactly, but she keep moving. In case Liz decides to come back after all, or that mean kid really is still around. We chuckled together, walking further down the beach side by side. You definitely wanted to stay outside a little while longer. Late at night, you found yourself seated near the kitchen counter. You had gotten a bit of a scolding from your moms for not saving any of Mr. Holden's gift for Elizabeth, but you didn't get any real punishment for it. Instead, while you were out with the boys, Elizabeth returned home to share the news. The three of them went to go get dessert on their own. It was declared even by your parents when everyone got back, and the event was settled. That was a while ago now. Your fingers drummed on the surface as you waited, your gaze trained on the phone. You were waiting on a call tonight, specifically from your cousin Leandra. You didn't want to miss it accidentally. Your Uncle Aunt and Lee used to live many hours away. Your families only saw each other a few times a year for vacations. A while back, they'd moved and were closer to you than ever before. You now hung out regularly. With school being out, you're positive she's going to want to come over a lot. The two of you were the same age and got along well. She used to be really fond of Elizabeth, too. But now that your sisters had become allergic to interacting with her own family, it tended to just be you and Lee who spent time together. She was your only friend who was a girl. Being a family helped make you close, but you had a lot of girlfriends. I tend to be friends with guys. I had like one or two girls that were friends, so you weren't all that close with the other girls your age. But you had plenty of other friends, but you didn't really have a lot of other friends either. We'll just say, like, I made friends with a lot of different people in high school. There just all happened not to be girls. Then the show ringtone announced an incoming call. You jump before grabbing the receiver and pressing it to your ear. Lee, finally. Who is it? Wonder Residence, Jamie speaking. Hello? Hey, Jamie, it's Lee. I'm glad it's you. For a second there, I thought it might be one of Elizabeth's friends. There was static on the end as if Lee was shifting whatever she was. Oh, she's so cute. So, can you believe school's actually over? I thought it'd never be done. Now we don't have to do any of that boring stuff, and we get to hang out whenever we want. Speaking of hanging out, Lee, can you wait a second? Just let me head to my room. Oh yeah, cool. You got it from your seat at the counter. Luckily the phone was wireless, so you didn't have to worry about any cords tying you down. Oh my god, I remember freaking landlines before we got cell phones. Now no one has landlines. Oh, your mom's could be really unfair. You thought that made sense. You didn't like it at all. Oh no, I don't know what it was. Oh, we'll just go unsure then. It was nice to keep everything in its proper place. But now that Lee had called, it was okay for you to go upstairs to your bedroom and talk to her. I guess probably didn't like you leaving it in their room. Made your way upstairs smiling. After you had arrived, you shut the bedroom door firmly behind you. You took a seat on your bed. Alright, I'm here. Hey, did you know the girl down the street from me has her own phone now? A cell phone. She doesn't have to wait for someone else to stop using it or anything. Wow, really? The thought of someone having a phone that was all their own seemed unbelievable to you. What a time. Right? I wish I had one too, but my parents said I couldn't get any phone until I'm more grown up. I wish they changed their mind. We could call each other every single day, and no one would be able to stop us. How great would that be? Really great, but wouldn't I still be using a phone at home? Too bad, that's so far away. Really great. We could even stay up late talking about whatever we want. Lee sighed thoughtfully into the receiver. At least they said I could have it someday. I can't wait. She sighed dramatically. I bet I'm not gonna get one until I'm all the way in college. Squeezing the phone between your shoulder and ear, you puffed up your pillows and made yourself more comfortable. It was strange to think of a time when normal school would be over, and you have to choose whether or not to go to college. School is a big part of your life right now. Yeah, I remember how that felt. Studying didn't come easy to you, though you tried hard. You worked about as hard as most people and you got average results. You never tried much, but you still didn't do that bad. You didn't bother at all at school, and your grades reflected that. Everything in your class came easily to you. You worked hard. I always tried my best, but I struggled here and there. You knew it was important and you wanted to do well. Frustratingly, even your best didn't seem quite ever to be good enough. You didn't know how it could be hard. Felt a lot of pressure to get high grades than you did last year. You hoped just to do just as well as last year, but it wouldn't be a big deal if they dropped some. You were confident your grades would remain great. You had no plans on getting excellent scores this time around. I always hoped to do better. Your future depended on it. Yeah. You tried to sound engaged, but your mind had decided to go back to school despite the season. Lee knew you too well to be fooled. You sound so spacey. What's up? Just thinking about school. Lee groaned. Are you thinking about how we don't have to think about it because it's summer? That's what I'm doing. I'm looking forward to going back. Let's make a petition for more vacation time. It sounds so awful I keep going. Come on, it's too scary not to think about it. Oh, let's make a petition for vacation time. Everybody in class would sign it, maybe some of the teachers too. Though I guess school isn't all that bad. You can do some good things there. You can just do more than when school is out. Learning new things can be cool. Gym is pretty great though. It's an easy way to hang out with people not in the neighborhood. Cafeteria lunches at my school could be better than they had any right to be. There's nothing but learning new things is gonna be cool. I just wish everyone did okay with how they taught things, not just some people. Yeah, that makes sense. Gym is pretty great though. It's a way to hang out with people outside the neighborhood. Gym was pretty great though. There were all sorts of sports stuff during gym. Oh yeah, it can be fun sometimes. Easiest way to hang out with people in the neighborhood. If I didn't go to school, I'd never meet anyone new. No one really comes here. Uh-huh. Lucky, mine's boring. And that's pretty much everything that's good about school. Okay, point taken. Now decree the topic school is officially closed. We have to talk about the summer. First, before we start planning the rest of our lives, I've got some plans already. Ooh, tell me. I'm gonna visit my cousins. You chuckled, of course. What's something you want to do? The first thing that comes to your head. Want to spend time with people, want to get some new art supplies, reading, gonna catch up and watch TV, probably spend some time on the beach. I don't want to. I guess we'll stick with the direct. People, I hope that means me too. Lean back in your bed, settling in as you continue chatting with your friend. Even though it hadn't been that long since you saw her and would be seeing her soon, you found plenty to talk about. For one, the events of the day, you sat up straighter. I was with Cove and Derek today, and we met a new kid. Like at your neighborhood? His parents are visiting family, so it sounds like he'll be around for a little while. I don't know how long. What was he like? Creepy, mean, weird, kind of interesting. Well, he was mean. He kept snapping when all we were trying to do was talk to him. He just kept being rude to everyone. But especially Cove. It was awful. Don't think I want to meet him. Do you want a boy to stay away before even meeting him? That's an unexpected twist. Your cousin was pretty popular with the boys who knew her. She seemed happy enough to have them around until they started to annoy her. Alright? Hey, who are you to talk? You give plenty of your attention to boys, or maybe just one boy. I see how much you like Cove. You got me? Yeah, that's a special case. I don't give him all my attention. You weren't able to say anything. I mean, we're trying to get... I don't want to mess up anything for getting along. You laughed the affirmation, deeply amused. Even though she couldn't see, you shook your head at her, grinning to yourself. There was a stomping noise approaching your room, heralding the arrival of your irritated oldest sister. She flung the door open, a frown etched on her face. Why is she just a nuisance all the time? How long are you going to hog the phone? Answering your watch, you realized that your quick call had gone on much longer than anticipated. Elizabeth held out her hand, the other one launched on her hip. She noticed realization on your face. Time's up. Gotta go. I'll see you soon, okay? With a sigh, you said goodbye to Lee. Sorry for being this long. I'm still using it. No, get out of my room. It's fine. Okay, see you. Tell Elizabeth and your moms I said hi to you. You barely pressed the end call button when Elizabeth whisked the handset from your fingers and began dialing someone new as she strode out of the room. Your mom's voice called from downstairs. Hey, has anyone seen the phone? I'm using it. With that, she shut your door behind you. Silence was left in the wake. That was one way to end your first day of summer break. Sometime later, it got dark outside and you lay in bed wide awake. Your window rattled all of a sudden, startling you badly. You flinched, staring over it with furrowed brows. From your vantage point, you saw only the moon and open sky. You were scared, confused, annoyed, curious. What had caused that noise? Cocking your head, you sat up and moved closer to the window. You wanted to get to the bottom of this. To your other shock, your eyes met with a pair of familiar ocean blue eyes. Cove? You squinted, yet Cove was right outside your window. Your house is very angular, and some parts stuck out further than others, so it was theoretically wouldn't be hard to climb around. Still, just because somebody could didn't mean you expected it to ever happen. To his credit, Cove was doing fine. His feet were braced against a section of the wall that jutted out, his arms flexing with the effort to keep him upright. He easily lifted a hand and waved it at you from the other side of the glass. You hurriedly opened the window. Cove climbed over the ledge, releasing a breath once he was safely inside. Hi, Jamie. What are you doing? What's up, Romeo? This sure is a surprise, but you're always welcome. Is everything okay? What happened? You're lucky I didn't start screaming. Amazing, my dreams have come true. What's up, Romeo? I know that it's late, but I don't know what else to do. If I rang the doorbell, I know your moms would have answered and they'd just make me go home. I didn't really want to explain why I was coming over anyway. I didn't want to talk about it. Well, besides with you, I mean. But that's why I did that. As unexpected as this was, you were touched. Cove felt like he could tell you what was wrong. I might have tried calling or something, except your dad. My dad was on the phone. Cove suddenly looked very cross. Dad, he was talking to my mom. Still is, probably. Raised your eyebrows. Cove had eavesdropped on his parents' phone conversation. Shouldn't have done that, you shot his bed. I would have done that too. You didn't comment as either. I would have done that too. Cove smirked in agreement. Yeah? I don't do it a lot, but I heard them talking about me. Are you going to stay with your mom for a while again? Every year, Cove was sent off to live with his mom for a few weeks. When it happened varied. Sometimes he would go during winter break, but usually went during the summer. Even though it was hard news when you found out he was leaving and you missed seeing him those weeks, you understood. To your surprise, however, he shook his head. That's what I thought too, but no, that's not what they were saying. My dad asked my mom not to have me leave this year. He said she could come stay with us here. He waited for him to continue. He didn't. The conversation abruptly dropped off. You couldn't help but stare at Cove. There was a complicated mix of expression on his face. What did your mom say? She told him she'd come. I know she's coming soon, before school starts. Oh. You had heard Cove talk about his mom a lot over the years. He'd tell you about past memories or what happened while he was visiting her. Still, it was one thing to hear about someone and another to actually meet them. Very soon, you were going to see Cove's mom in person. Oh, that would be cool. Up and down. You were taken aback by the news, so you could only imagine how Cove felt. You looked over at him. He was pacing across the room, his features pained with dread. For they barely stayed in the same room long enough to have lunch. Now we're going to be all together again, the three of us, after all this time. Just for a few weeks. I know I should probably be happy they can talk to each other now. I'm still not. I'm just confused and freaked out, and now I feel really bad for feeling this way. It's so... His fist tightened and his eyes became misty. I shouldn't keep getting like this. It's been a long time already, and I'm not a little kid. Though he wouldn't meet your eyes, he knew he was waiting for you to say something. There's nothing wrong with feeling bad. That is hard to deal with. We can deal with it. Sorry, Cove, you know I'm here for you. Yeah, that's a lot. You didn't know what to say. Tense lines for orders eased. Thanks. That makes me feel a little bit better. Like I'm not freaking out for no reason. A momentary silence fell over the two of you. You marvel at how the day started. You had woken up eager for summer vacation, but now things seem so crazy. The May debacle with Mr. Holden's gift, the newest addition to the neighborhood being so rude, and as if all that wasn't enough, now Cove's mom would be living with Cove and his dad again. Your whole life was kind of like that, it seemed. Complicated and hard and different. Why couldn't things just get better with time? Jamie. Sounding your name was quiet. Sound of your name said quietly pulled you from your thoughts. Cove gazed at you concerned. Yeah, I'm okay. You meant it. Yeah, I'm okay. You didn't mean it. No, I'm not. I don't know. Who, me? I'm worried about you. Wow, things are kind of bad for everyone, huh? Yeah, I'm okay. You meant it. You knew some things were still good. Cove grinned reassuringly. It was small and delicate, but you knew it was genuine. Moonlight from outside cast shadows across his face and lit up his eyes. It seemed to sparkle with a smile. Just that one look brightened your mood somewhat. You know, I think I don't want to talk any more about this. He looked away, his lips in a line, and he rubbed at his arms. But I kind of don't want to go back home either. Could I stay a little longer? Just do something else? He appeared equal parts hopeful and vulnerable. How could you possibly turn him away? You can stay tonight, but we shouldn't make a habit of it. Got a flashlight and some cards, you in? Of course, you can always stay here, Cove. Held your gaze confidently, hoping your words got across to him. Cove perked up at your response. A smile appeared on his face. He immediately took a seat on your bed, not afraid to get comfortable in your room. Felt a little bit better at the sight somehow. You still had a lot of worries, but you were glad he was here. And not just tonight. You were glad he came into your life in the first place. That was a change you'd never want to undo. Who would have thought Cove would mean so much to you? You certainly hadn't in the beginning. You had kept your distance, and so had he. Now you considered him to be one of the people you're closest with, and you were certain that there was a room to get even closer. So I wonder if it's usual that you don't always have the same closeness in the beginning. Like, he tends to be someone that's hard to get along with sometimes, maybe. I don't know. Or if you took a more direct approach, it would have been different. You joined Cove on your bed, taking a seat across from him. He smiled at you again, but you could tell this time it was half-hearted. He was still easy to read. Though he didn't want to talk about his mom and dad, he seemed to be thinking about what happened and what's to happen. Smiled gently at him. He put a hand on his shoulder. You patted his back. You hugged him. His hand, seemed like he needed a hug. Moved closer and wrapped your short arms around him as much as you could. It wasn't much, but you hoped the contact helped even a little. Cove froze up, startled. After a moment, his arms came up and he returned your hug. Two of you remained like that for some time. He might have mumbled something to you, but it was too quiet to tell what it was. When you pulled back, his expression had softened into something more natural. Conversation was stilted and broken often by silence at first. Then both of you were able to get into your usual candor. As your secret hangout session stretched on, you thought that you truly wanted to keep having moments like this with him. You hoped a day would never come when life decided that the two of you would have to part ways, and you knew Cove felt the same. That's nice. You opened your tired eyes, groaning as they adjusted to the bright light that was streaming through your window and warming your peach skin. With a loud yawn, you rolled away from the sunlight and blinked a couple of times, clearing the sleep from your eyes before realizing with a start that it was actually morning. You couldn't remember even falling asleep. Phil crept through your window during the night, and the two of you had spent time together. Try not to wake up your parents. Best have fallen asleep while you were hanging out, but you couldn't put a finger on exactly when. Wondered how late Cove had stayed before heading home. Rubbed your face and yawned again, contemplating whether you should get out of bed and get ready for the day, or stay snuggled up a little while longer. Until your gaze landed on an instantly recognizable mop of pale green hair, you bolted upright and gasped in surprise. He never left. He was still there in the morning. Oh! Cove, you laughed aloud. You jumped out of bed. You froze. Cove. He had fallen asleep while sitting on the ground and precociously leaning his head on the side of your mattress. With a shout, Cove's eyes snapped open and his head slipped from the source of support. He didn't stop going down until he smacked right on the floor with a crack. He clamped a head over your mouth and looked down at him with the wide eyes, curled up where he'd landed rather ungracefully. Ow. You laugh quietly. Laugh loudly. Are you okay? You helped him out. Shh, my moms are gonna hear. Are you okay? You winced at his tumble, hoping no one else in the house had heard over your elspeth. Yeah, I'm alright. Cove rubbed at his forehead a little, and you weren't sure that was entirely true. If either of your moms found out Cove had slept here last night, the two of you would be in big trouble. Cove blinked at you a couple times, his eyes growing in panic as some thought that only he could hear settled in his mind. Oh my god, I fell asleep. You weren't exactly sure what to do as you watched Cave pace your room, looking around frantically. Cove stopped mid-step, and you wanted to ask what he had been searching for, but you guessed he wouldn't know the answer to that himself. Despite that, he hadn't calmed down completely. The atmosphere was still frazzled. It's going to be alright. We're going to be in so much light. Just come down. Settle down before Mom hears you. You didn't say anything. It's going to be alright. You just need to leave before anyone notices you're here. If they knew, we would have heard about it already. Cove nodded, his shoulders tensed, as he fixed you with a firm stare with his turquoise eyes. Then he went a heavy sigh. He ran his hand through his hair in exasperation. Couldn't look at you again as he spoke. I'll see you later. You're confused by how all of this had played out, but hoped that was true. Right. Bye, Cove. At that, you were suddenly wrapped up in a tense embrace. As panicked as he was, this seemed to be something he couldn't forget before leaving. Thanks again. You're a good friend, Jamie. A really good friend. Friendly whispered the words into the top of your shoulder and made you feel tingly. But you were let go before you had a chance to respond or even fully react. In a matter of seconds, he climbed over your bed and opened the window. Cool breeze rolls off the ocean, fluttering through Cove's hair and filling your room with its salty scent. Cove fiercely stepped out onto the ledge. Wish him luck. You railed him to keep going. You suggested he sneak out the door instead. You urged him to hurry up. Wished him luck. Good luck. Be super careful. You weren't sure if he heard you or not, but he kept going along, one foot in front of the other with increasing speed until his form disappeared out of sight. Stick your head out the window as far as you could go to try and keep watch. He walked the full length of the ledge before jumping down to the top of the garage, then lowered himself onto the fence. From there, he finally dropped down to the ground. He threw out a thumbs up at his successful climb. He ran off towards his house without stopping, disappearing behind the side of another building. You had to admit that you were pretty impressed at how doable he made that look. Cove always seemed to have a way of seeming so smooth without even meaning to. With a little sigh, you reclosed your window and decided there was nothing more you could do. Hopped off your bed and got ready to head downstairs for the day. Put on your slippers, you checked yourself in the mirror, you made your bed, you just left. Put on your slippers. You knew it was summer, but your slippers were comfy and cozy and they made you feel better whenever you wore them. You took the stairs, slowly attempting to mask your face into a look of innocence. You were sure that someone would have come into your room if they had heard anything strange, but you couldn't be too careful. You had to play it cool. When you stepped into the living room, Elizabeth was there, tapping her finger on the counter. Good morning, Elizabeth. She looked over at you immediately, her eyes squint to get the greeting. Why are you being so weird? You hadn't even done anything. Big sister never missed a beat, unfortunately. You turned and offered a tight smile, and her lips pursed together even tighter. Jamie? She shrugged it off. You clammed up. Wouldn't you like to know? Sorry? You excitedly blurted out. You folded. Shrugged it off. I'm not. You spoke so nonchalantly you almost thought she believed you. But you knew better. Further suspicions, squinting, occurred as she waited for something. Ultimately, she rolled her eyes, and you weren't sure if you were in trouble or not. She didn't seem to care enough to dig any further. Whatever. Then she walked straight out the front door, letting it slam behind her, and you let out a brief sigh. Liz went out most days to hang out with her friends from school around town. Today you were so glad for it, though you were also grateful she hadn't left the house any sooner and missed running into Cove. It looked like you were getting away with that. Breakfast was eaten in peace and alone. Your moms were both out by the time you had gotten up. They had left you a serving of food from the breakfast they made. Hash browns, an omelet, fruit salad, and there was a few sausage links. Took a little bit of everything. You passed on the parts because you think they weren't things you liked. Passed on some parts because you were trying to avoid meat. You passed on some other parts because you were trying to avoid animal. Oh wow, they even give you those choices. I mean, I eat a little bit of everything at the moment, so. It was tasty. You appreciated that there was a variety in your meals your mom's made. The day lazily drifted by. You pulled up on the fringe again, lingering in the frosty air for a moment or two before grabbing a bottle of ice-cold water, taking a long drink. It was a perfect balmy summer afternoon. You had decided to head outdoors and find something to do. You hadn't decided what that something was just yet, but you were sure something would pop up to occupy your time. So I'm not sure how long this one is. It seems to be longer than the others. I'm not sure if the episodes are going to turn into an hour or if it's just doing steps 2 all in one. I'm also worried about just like stopping, and then the minute I open it up again, we move on to the next. So I might check out a little bit more, and then we'll see. As you're heading out the front door, you pause for a moment. You hadn't seen Cove since he had left that morning, and you couldn't help but think about what happened to him. Wouldn't it be bad to go over to his house right now, or call him to check in? You stepped out of your house, still stuck in an internal debate with yourself, when a voice got your attention. Hi, Jamie. Confused, you looked over to where an unrecognizable woman was waving at you. A friendly smile plastered on her face. You racked your memory for where you might have seen her before, but nothing came to mind. Not your school, or from the country club your moms took you to. You were absolutely no idea who the woman was. The woman crossed the road toward you, and you were a little unsure whether you should stay put or go back into the house and lock the door. Oops, I'm sorry. Was that presumptuous? I've heard about you, but you have no idea who I am, do you? Oh, his mom. You shook your head, and she removed her sunglasses to reveal sparkling ocean blue eyes. All of a sudden, she seemed a little more familiar. My son lives here, my ex too. She's pretty. With a bent smile, she lifted a hand to point to the condo across the street. From your own house, she was Cole's mom's. You didn't know why you hadn't realized sooner, now that you'd gotten a good look at her. She seemed nice, she seemed sort of strange, she looked really young. Made sense that she was Cole's mom, she felt so different to Cove. She was super pretty. I don't know, she looks young. It was almost hard to believe she was a 13-year-old kid. No matter your thoughts on her, you still felt taken aback that she had appeared here so suddenly. Cove mentioned he was coming, but you hadn't got the impression that it would be the very next day. She extended a hand again, this time for you to take, and you studied the manicured fingers in front of your face and the assortment of bracelets that dangled from her wrist. I'm Kyra Priest. You can call me Kyra. You shook her hand. Yeah, why not? Reached out and took her hand, and she shook yours firmly, grinning wide. I'm Jamie, but you already knew that. Cove's mentioned you to me before. It's nice to officially meet you, Jamie. Cove talked to you about his mom. He hadn't mentioned how he said things about you to her. What was Cove said about me? What are you doing here? Nice to meet you. Kept quiet. Oh, what has he said about me? Oh, I can't tell you that. I've already said too much. She laughed good-naturedly. Couldn't be happy about that answer, though. Oh, there we are. Sound of the door opening and closing caught both your attention, so when you turned towards the sound, it was to find Cove exiting the house, his eyes skimming the ground. Considering just how tall he had grown, you kind of figured his mom also would have been tall, but she was much more on the short side for an adult anyway. Cove's height must have come from his father. There you are. I thought you were going to keep me standing out here all day. You tried to catch Cove's eye as he walked towards you, but his gaze was firmly fixed on the sidewalk. When he finally crossed the road and looked up, he gave you a pitiful look. After the way he had acted last night, you knew he must be feeling pretty mixed up about all this. You tried to wordlessly express that you understood. Cove and I were heading into town to grab something to eat, while the snore is at work. Kyra beamed at Cove and ruffled his hair, which only seemed to upset him more. You assumed the snore she was talking about with Mr. Holden. Well, that's a nice greeting. Hey, you should come with us, Jamie. I'd love to get to know you better. Yeah, you should come. There was a pleading in his tone that you couldn't miss. Of course, we'll run it by your parents first, responsibility and all that. It'll give me an excuse to meet them, which I need to do at some point. It's important to be neighborly if I'm going to be roosting on these streets for a time being. Any whoosies, let's go. Kyra walked ahead towards your house, and you hung back with Cove, who crinkled his nose as he watched her. I'm sorry about her, but I really do want you to come. I don't want it to be just the two of us, not right now. You leaned in closer and whispered while checking around for anyone who might hear. What happened? Did your dad know you were gone? Cove shook his head and sighed heavily. Dad was so focused on Mom showing up that he didn't even notice. I thought when I heard them on the phone last night that it was something they were planning for the future. This morning, Dad said it was supposed to be a surprise, and I guess I was surprised she was going to be here all summer. Oh, you're surprised to hear that too. Cove sighed again, even heavier. I'll go with you if you really want me to. He smiled, his shoulders relaxing a little in relief. Thanks, that'd be cool. The two of you headed over to where Cove's mom had just knocked on your front door and stood behind you. Mom answered the door after a minute, her eyebrows lifted in surprise at the group she found in front of her. Realized that, like you, she would have no idea that it was Cove's mom who was hanging with you. However, after blinking at the woman a couple times and looking between her and Cove, the realization seemed to strike on her. Hello there, I'm Pamela. I see you've met my kid Jamie, and I'm guessing you've already known Cove for a while. Kyra laughed, and you and Cove exchanged a look at your parents' weird sense of humor. I'm Kyra Priest, Cove's mom. It's so nice to meet you. A head of purple-brown hair caught your eye as Ma popped up behind Mom, squeezing herself in beside her. We have company. I was wondering what all the commotion was. She grinned excitedly at Kara, the two of them introducing themselves and shook hands. Hi, Jamie. Cove. Cove smiled at Ma shyly and she gestured a hand towards the living room. There's no use hanging in the doorway. Why don't you come in? I'd love to, but I promised to take my son out to eat, and I wouldn't want to hold you up with a surprise visit. I understand. You're welcome to stop by any time. I'll take you up in the offer when I can. Count on it. Would you mind too much if Jamie went with Cove and I? My treat. We won't be driving, just a quick walk down the road. Sure, that sounds nice. I hope you all have fun. You gave your mom a look and they smiled at you fondly. You're happy they're letting you go. You were annoyed they agreed. Happy letting you go. You could tell that Cove really needed the support and you were ready to be there for him. Expect us back in an hour or two. We look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Your parents waved goodbye to the three of you as you backed up in the street. There was a sound on the front door closing behind you. I'm pretty positive I saw some restaurants when I was in the taxi not too far from here. Yeah, there's a lot of them around. The answer was straightforward and the tone was curt. Cove was usually more lighthearted than that. Oh, I guess he's changed a lot from when he was a kid. Kara put her hands on her hips and smiled at her son. Oh, you sound like the area expert. Do you have any recommendations for a place nearby? Not really. Kara patted him a little and turned to you instead. How about you, Jamie? Want to put me in the right direction? You shrugged. Not really. Sure, I have a couple favorites. You nodded. We'll just lead the way. You've been in a lot of places in town, so you knew a couple of good ones. There's a Chinese restaurant that me and my family go to all the time. It's my mom's favorite. There's also a tropical themed place that tries to be sort of fancy. Won't sound like a treat. I'll leave it to you to pick for us, since Cove is going through a phase over there. He huffed at her and turned his face away. Chinese place, tropical themed, you insisted, contribute to the decision. We'll just Chinese. Thank you, Jamie. Will you show us the way? You nodded, taking the lead of your little group as Cove and his mom followed behind you. Together, the three of you left the neighborhood behind. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it there. I thought there was going to be little breaks, sort of. I thought there were, in fact, little thingies, but I guess it just kind of keeps going on. I'm not sure if there are some DLCs outside of that or just like little moments. I thought there were, but I guess we'll find out soon. But this is already going on for like an hour, so 40 minutes or so. So I think I'm going to leave it there for now, and we will come back to it. The box was made along the way, asked a lot of questions. Yeah, so I think I'll leave it here for now. If it ends up saving or to the next moment, whatever, we'll just follow with that. But thank you so much for watching, for sticking around with me. This was the beginning of step 2, and we will see where it goes. I only hope for the best. I'm so excited, and we'll continue on our journey next time.